Okay, good morning, Miss Marilyn.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Mandy?
I'm well, thank you. And how's the week been treating you?
Oh, it's been crazy busy, believe it or not.
I do believe it. Why? Because we are the ladies of the seven C's and we're running our life with two jobs, right? Running our business
Oh my
life,
goodness.
running our corporate life. So I believe it was busy, girl.
Yeah. Oh man, it hasn't been. I tell you, it is definitely a struggle, and it is a balance of the mindset. It's the struggle of the mindset. It's all in between. I'm just happy to know that at least I have a go-to group to dedicate that hard struggle with when I go through it. So it's awesome to have a support group that you can go to, just kind of keep you balanced. So
Good.
as we
Good.
said before, this is Mandy St. Aj from Texas and Marilyn Porter from Florida. And I am Marilyn with Florida Realty and Commercial out here in Florida, and so happy to be here as we talk about the seven C's of real estate, which is coffee, conversation, collaboration, incorporation, and closings and contracts. So we're definitely here to have a good communication and just to kind of go over our daily struggles in the real estate market and just in business in general.
Hmm.
And Mandy is
Yeah.
here with us today. St. Aj, tell us who you are, where you're at.
Yeah, thank you, Marilyn. You're right. And the biggest part, I love how you kind of started to express that your group, I mean, the whole purpose behind the two of us getting together is just to recognize that this is not a business to be done by yourself and that collaboration is key, right? And being able to rely on and do life with others helps you to kind of move forward. So thank you for reminding of us of that. And yes, I am Andy St. Ange of Monarch Movement Real Estate Group, brokered by EXP here in Collin County, Texas, so the north side of Texas. Um, and we are going to be furthering our conversation today, essentially a part two. We took a pause. Last week we were graced by Miss Andy Azell, an industry expert and longtime veteran of the industry. Talked last week a lot about the idea of role playing and scripting, and she laid just down some phenomenal tips. So grateful for her and her collaboration.
Yes.
Um, so this week we're going to jump back into our episode or our conversation that we had prior to her visit about social media. And we were talking just in general about the struggles related to social media. And if I recall correctly, in that episode, we talked a little bit about just in general, like how and when and who to be, basically. And so I figure we could probably just continue the conversation again today. We barely tipped the iceberg on social media. I feel like we spent a lot more time just personally talking about truly, yeah, our struggles and what we are trying to achieve, trying to understand the purpose, etc. And we really didn't get into the brass tacks about like, hey, how about I struggle with social media because I don't even know how to turn on my phone, right? Like we didn't even talk about a struggle like that per se. So I
Uh-huh.
think just furthering our conversation today about the challenges with social media, what we see out there, how we try to be creative, and at the end of the day, recognizing that social media is an advertising platform. You know, just period. It's an
Yes.
advertising platform. It's a way for us to be able to get out and tell people who we are and attract something, right? And everyone's purpose for
Uh-huh.
why they're on there is completely different, right? Um,
Exactly.
so I think if we talk today a little bit more about that kind of advertising component, we even talked way back in one of our very first episodes about the idea of like branding and marketing and defining who we are. I think honestly, some of this goes hand in hand. If you're struggling to know who you are, what your message is, what your purpose is, right? We've talked about that in the past. then I think it makes it really hard for you to be powerful, or not powerful, but to be a part of social media, because those two things go hand in hand. You got to know a little bit more about who you are, what you want to tell, and why you're on there, right? And
Exactly.
everyone's purpose different. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, first I want to say I can't see your face, Mandy.
Oh, you
Where are
can't?
you? All I see is your shoulders. So we need to see this beautiful face of yours and see where you are.
That is so silly. Wait, can you see me now?
And it's really close. Yeah, actually, it's because you're really close. So it's like right on your shoulder rather than a little
Okay,
bit
hold
far
on.
away.
That is so funny.
One of the struggles of social media. Hey, gotta have this, right? This is exactly what we're talking about.
Okay,
Just
how about
trying to
now?
understand. Nope, can't get it now. Nope. It's like it's really like I feel like the focus is really on, like, it's really drawn in close to you,
Yeah.
so that you're only seeing your shoulders, and it's got to be pushed back a little bit more. So
That is so
not
bizarre.
sure.
See, I see myself perfectly clear as day on my on my little screen. How about now?
Well, you know what? We're gonna go with it because
Yeah.
we only have so much time today. We're gonna
Yes.
go with it, and I'm gonna say, like, again, these are things that we struggle with as part of social media. We want to know, when you first get out there, what to do. Like, you sitting there and you're just kind of thinking of like ideas. You look at everybody's social media, you see what they're doing, and you're like, oh man, I want to do that. I want to do that wow factor. I want people to stop and look and do it and replay 3 or 4 times to enjoy what they're seeing, and to like, right, and subscribe if possible, and just come, and just engage. So with that being said, I want to talk about, the first things first. I was doing some quick research yesterday and today, and I was just thinking, matter of fact, I was even talking with a friend, a colleague of mine who is on our team, and she was explaining the idea of just going out and just doing it, but she doesn't know how to create these cool videos that you see on Instagram. And she was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Again, these are the questions we have when dealing with social media. Since COVID, everybody was just like, okay, what do we do now? How do we gain our business? How do we even talk to, engage to people? What do we do? Yeah. And it comes down to the top 3 issues of social marketing, social media marketing. And I think the one thing is defining your marketing goals. That's the first thing you need to do. Define it by using the SMART rule. I like this rule because it says everything about what to do, how to get started, and then what your focal point is. At this point, I would say SMART. Just think about SMART. SMART. You're talking about being specific. Starting with SMART, right? Be specific about what your platform is going to be. Be specific about the audience you're wanting to hit, what audience you're trying to reach and engage with. Be specific. That's what we want to start with first. When you define that, then you can go into the M factor. And the M factor is the being measurable factor of their social media. Define the analytics of it, of creating your marketing idea, and understanding how and what your audience are struggling with when you're dealing with this. So I just kind of thought about this as a focal point and to start with, and then I was going to go into, okay, so now we're being measurable. We're understanding. We're being specific on what platform, whether it be social media, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook, whether it be TikTok, as the new thing is now. We want to be specific, because the whole point of being specific and being measurable with your audience and with yourself is you're mastering that skill. You're mastering that platform. So stay with it. Don't worry about going to TikTok. Don't worry about going to Facebook all the time. If Instagram is your thing, if that's if that's your game, if that's your jam, like you say,
Yep.
Mandy,
Yep.
then do it and stick to it, and master it. And then again, go back to being measurable. Just measure your audience. Who is your audience that you're trying to gain? Whether it be with working with buyers for me, or working with sellers, or just in general educating buyers and sellers. You're wanting to make sure you're specific in that goal. The whole thing here is to be specific and measurable. Next, attainable. Let's be attainable with these goals. Attain your audience. Be organic. Do something that's organic to the whole platform. Just make sure that your campaign is it makes sense. Makes sense to your audience, makes sense to you, and makes sense to the whole big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then be realistic with your time. This is coming to the R factor. Be realistic with your time. Don't try to sit there and think that you're going to do, you're going to have to take 2 days to do some kind of skit for, doing your Instagram reel or a post. Just be specific. All it needs to do is just hit a 1 minute or 30-second video of your point of view, mm-hmm. of your point of action. You don't have to be hours and hours on edge trying to do these things. You just be specific, be measurable, and attain that goal. And believe me, it will just be organic automatically. Like, people will just gravitate to you because they like you, because mm-hmm. they want to see what you got to do. They want to see more of what you got to say and do. And these are the things that you want to stick to. And then lastly, you want to be time bound on what you're doing, which is the last form of it. Time bound means just kind of being specific on time, realizing what time you're dealing with, and understand the engagement behind that time. So whether you're, and I mean, in perfect example is just being specific on the time that you're going to do your videos, your social media, whether it be the morning, mm-hmm. whether it be the afternoon, whether it be late in the evening when you know that all parents and everybody's going to, is chilling in their bed and they're relaxing and they're plugging up their phone right before they lay down, and just to have some fun, to just kind of see what people are doing or have done for the day. So, be specific on your time of who and where you're trying to engage with. And that right there will build your organic feedback. That will build your engagement. That will build you as a professional and as a social media rock star. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that I came up with to start. Because at the end of the day, the solution here is the big picture. The big picture is your marketing, your brand. Who are you? That's it.
Yeah, and I think that's very concise. And Vera Lynn, most companies use that same approach when they're doing any marketing campaign. And that could go mm-hmm. all the way back to like Philip Morris days. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when Leo Burnett was getting his advertising campaigns built for some of these large companies, that's exactly mm-hmm. what they would sit down and have conversation about. As we talked before, that SMART goal is very well tied with essentially that profile goal that we talk about too, right? Identifying the profile of the customer or the client, the ideal customer, client, or audience, right? That you're trying to have. And the same thing with the brand picture, right? And I think once you identify those three things, ideal customer, ideal, your brand purpose, and then you lay out those SMART goals, they kind of, all of that just helps you kind of put all of the pieces of the puzzle together, and to give you clarity on what to do, where to go, and how to make it happen. And for some of us, we can just, some of us that are creative minds, right? We have to give ourselves some grace. Some of us that are creative minds, we can just say like, okay, we know it, we got it. We're going to do it. But for others that are very analytical or very practical or who need kind of that step by step,
Mm-hmm.
this idea that you've laid out today is important. That is critical. We have to remember there are a lot of people that come into real estate that have had corporate jobs or have had jobs, period, where they've been told every day what they're doing all day long. And
Yes.
now they decide to go into owning their own business, and there is no one there telling them what to do. It can be very challenging. It can be very challenging. So, having an
Yes.
outline and a guide like this, following the SMART goal rules, I think is huge. And the SMART goal rules, I would say, just a plug because some of my mentors have stated over and over again that the SMART rule is not necessarily just applicable to this one topic that we're talking about. SMART goals should be laid out even just from the standpoint of like, what are your overall business goals? What do you plan to achieve for the year, for the month, for the quarter, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't lay those measurable goals out and follow that alike practice, it can make it very hard to get there. So let's talk a little bit about maybe each of us, as you've kind of had this I don't want to say epiphany, but you're liking this way or this form to lay out how to increase or grow or feel better, more confident about your social media plan. Let's just talk a little bit about like what do we think we've done so far that are examples? Do we have any practical examples right now? Can we look at our social media, either of us, and say like, you know, I am doing that, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing that. Do you think that you can see now that you've kind of had this more cognitive awareness of a process? Can you see that you're winning or not at social media?
No, that's actually a really good question. And to be honest, I am the one that's struggling with it
Mm-hmm.
myself because, as life approaches and you have this side of doing corporate and you're doing I'm doing my real estate business on the side and it's really not even on the side. I'm really working two jobs, full-time jobs, and at the same time, I find myself struggling with posting
Mm-hmm.
my Instagram videos. I'm starting to gravitate more to Instagram, and I'm starting to gravitate more to engagement there. Um, but then I struggle with the fact of, okay, when do I do this? Like, because my time frame is so tight. Should I do this early in the morning? But I'm not getting up early in the morning to do a video there. However, I am seeing that myself. I'm having to change things around where I can do it in the evening. Why not? When I get off work, when I had that time for, when I'm no longer doing, I'm no longer engaging in my cold calling in the evenings or on a weekend, I can do my social media in the, late after where it's everybody's doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing and I feel more comfortable. So it's about being comfortable in your time frame, which again, that comes to being realistic, right? That's part of that SMART goal.
Yeah.
And I just find myself to the point where I'm not being as consistent as I want to be, but I don't want to give up on that either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I know that this is the time to do it. These are things that I need to do to keep my business going. And I want to make sure people know who I am and that I'm still out here like, hey, I'm still out here doing real estate, or hey, I'm still out here doing both real estate and corporate world, So I want to make sure that I let my audience know that I am still here, even though. So if that means I have to post once a week or twice a month, I'm okay with that. It's just about the time and that focal point of my 30-second video has to make sense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's what I come up with. And of course, it's not always about real estate. You know, people say, "Oh, well, I gotta post something about real estate." If you can post something about real estate once a week, that's great. You've already hit a target point there, and everything else can just be you. Because again, at the end of the day, people want to see you. They want to see what you're doing. They want to say, "Hey, what's Mandy doing today?" She's doing that marathon run again. That's the connection. At the end of the day, it's about connection.
Yep.
So that's how I see it. That's how I would want to work it. And I will continue to work it like that. Because again, at the end of the day, I want people to know me. Because if they know me, then they want to work with me.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the time thing is this. So it's very unique that you focus kind of on that. And here's the thing. I think there's some organic nature to it. And there's lots of ways to automate this and lots of ways to just, kind of be off the cuff. I treat my social media no differently than I treat my blog media. I don't blog every day, but I do blog every day. I have an opportunity that I can automate my blogs and I can automate when they go up. So I set time every Saturday morning for about an hour and I grab my blog content, I map it out for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and I set that schedule and my CRM happens to just kick it out for me on the day and on the time that I set it to go out. There's opportunities to do that. There's things called Planoly and other platforms, Hootsuite, that you can invest in that can help you truly plan out and launch your social media. And then you can have a splice of truly virulent, throughout the day. So if you know that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you want to post something about, real estate industry, market updates, whatever it is, you can utilize those tools to launch those things for you on those days and whatever time you set up. And then if you want to post something that's about you having a salad on the beach, like have a salad on the beach and take a picture and post it. It doesn't matter, So again, if you're not that kind of curated or creative person who can just on the fly for everything, and or you don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, I forgot, then I would utilize those tools. But here's the other thing that a lot of folks don't realize is like the way social media works, you could blast 12 posts or stories at like 11:55 and they may get seen at 11:55 or they might get seen at 2 or 5 p.m. the next day and cycle back through again. That's the thing, is it doesn't really matter, because most of the time there's so much happening in your feed, you're getting lost anyways, right? And so I don't get so crippled with, I didn't post exactly at 3 p.m. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that. The minute you open your phone, you see one thing and then it repopulates again and you see another thing. And you're like, shoot, I didn't see the 50 or 100 other things that came behind that, For everybody, it's just that whole space. So to go back, have a little grace with yourself. Find the tools that could help you feel like you're staying on task, right? And staying on your time schedule. The other thing is, don't be panicked to have to make a video in the moment. A little secret, a lot of my videos are the same videos that I've been using for the last couple of years. But why should they change? I'm still talking to my target market, right? I'm still marketing, right? Folgers Coffee has still been telling you the best part of waking up. For how long?
Decades.
Do you know what I mean?
Since I was like 10.
Exactly. So my point of view is, I want people to know, right? I have two things that I kind of chime all the time, right? I have running in real estate because I'm always trying to catch my runner population, right? So that they know, like, and trust me because I'm a runner. And I want to educate them on running or make a connection with running, and then in hopes that that will build that type of clientele, right? I'm
Yes.
running all the time. So my videos that are advice videos, those videos are old, but they're applicable. It never goes away. Like, I'm thinking of the ones that I did right now, like this time of year, about running in the heat. It's hot. It's hot. So what does it matter if it was hot last year or hot this year? I'm talking to you about running in the heat. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
so
Exactly.
use your time, go back to the T, use your time wisely, and there's nothing wrong with using the same content when you're sending the same message that you want to always send, right? So
Exactly.
don't reinvent the wheel. Don't feel like I mean, I'll be honest, I took a good solid year to build that content, downloaded it all and reuse it, right? So give yourself some grace. Save the ones that you like. Save the ones that have purpose, right? And be consistent with those. And just find a time that works for you. I know that real estate star Glenda Baker, she has talked about this before. And she has said, I lock myself in a room like for a couple of hours, on the week or the weekend, and I just film and I film and I film and I film and I film, and then eventually they come out. It's
Yes.
like, so she didn't film and launch them all on the day she filmed. That wasn't the
Right.
goal, right? I know another
Right.
gal, another star, and in our real estate space, Amanda Azell, she in Canada, she does the same thing. She pre-records a lot of her content and then puts it out. So give yourself some grace. The idea of being live and being in the moment doesn't always have to happen, but it will certainly help you to stay on task and on time. Um, and then I was going to also say, in regards to, finding ways to send your message and then to also be, organic about yourself. Um, I think you're right. It's just whenever you're in the moment, you know, use that SMART goal to lay out what's business critical, maybe. And then
Exactly.
anything else that's you, just let it be you. Let it be you. And they say, that on average, if you are participating in whatever platform you're on, but if you're participating in that platform and you're engaging at least 15 times a day, that you are, or I shouldn't say 15 times a day, just 15, then you're more likely to have a significant presence along with hashtagging. Because again, when somebody finally decides to look up buying real estate or look up Florida or look up Florida commercial and
Texas.
realty, right, or
Yep.
Texas, then they're likely to find you. You are
Yes.
not going to just show up in someone's feed no matter what it is, right? It's actually finding the idea. So the end game is, if you are, let's go back to this time part, goals and laying it out, and defining your purpose and your goal. If you strategically choose to be the expert of Texas, the expert of Florida, and real estate, right? Those two topics. Let's just say where you are, location and industry. And if you are always posting about or storying, whatever, engaging, let's just say if you're doing something, so we don't get hung up on the word. If you're doing
Yes.
something in that platform at least 15 times, okay, a day,
Uh-huh.
and you are hashtagging those spaces and you are relating yourself to those ideas, you are likely to be the priority in that search area. Does that make sense?
Nope,
Because
that's
because
exactly
not
right.
not everybody is going to be in remarking about Texas, right? Not everyone's going to be
Uh-huh.
in remarking about Florida. But if you want to become the known face or the known searchable profile name, that when somebody looks up the hashtag Florida, that they see Vera Lynn in there all the time, that's how
Uh-huh.
you win. And that's how your time is used to the most efficient, right, space, and the most effective
Uh-huh.
space. And it's also the way that you can measure your goals and measure how successful you are. Engagement, having likes, having comments, having saves, all those things have plays ish too. But I'll tell you, if you look at, let's just pick on Glenda. Let's talk about Gogo. Let's talk about Amanda. Let's talk about Michael Reese. Let's talk about Jay Kinder. Some of those Cliff Freeman. Some of those rock stars in our
Uh-huh.
industry, right? I'm having a
Uh-huh.
brain fart of the gal who does all of these things about short-term stays in North Carolina. She's phenomenal. But if we look at all of those folks and then we look at their posts or we look at their stories, they don't always have any more comments or logistic conversations, or not logistic, logical or realistic conversations than you or I do.
Right.
At the
Nope,
end of the
you're exactly
day,
right.
their face is just always seen because they're always posting and they're always hashtagging the topic and or the area that you're interested in. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. Yep, that's exactly next. That's perfect. That's actually perfect what you just said. Just location and just the timing and hashtagging. It's not even timing, it's like hashtagging. You're right. When you're dealing with social media, you have to understand that when people go online, they do a search. They go on Google and they search. So the keywords are the absolute key to how you post on social media. So you, like you said, it's not even so if I'm looking for someone, I'm going to Texas and I'm going to, I'm looking around and I'm doing a search on, 5K runners, on Instagram. Let's just look, I'm looking at 5K runners, or I'm just looking at, you know, uh, ideas to do, like 10 ideas to do in the state of Texas, and if you're posting using that keyword, you will come up, you will pop up. So yeah, you're right. You just hit it right on the point. That is an absolute reason to post and making sure you use those hashtags, because it does bring about location of where you are and what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so it's not about like, I guess to go back again, it's not about I posted at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m.,
Uh-huh.
5 p.m. It's not
Uh-huh.
necessarily about that. There is a set of engagers who are opening their phone at that time and looking, and you want to be top of mind. But there is a set
Yes.
of engagers who, like you're saying, is just searching. And so if you get into the time, meaning time you want to invest, the time you want to invest in creating your
Uh-huh.
content and launching your content, that's the most important thing. Then what I would say is make sure it's in abundance every day, so that way when the engager who wants to just search for a topic or an idea goes there, they see you 100 times over. Does that make sense? Because
Uh-huh.
you invested the
Yes.
time to be in there all the time, not at a
Uh-huh.
specific clock time. Make sense?
That exactly makes sense, and I think that's what we'll probably go into because this is a start again to what we were talking about in the first chapter of social media struggles. I think when we go into part 3, we would talk about the familiarity of how to use those hashtags.
Yeah.
And to just to understand the fact of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really believe that, going forward, I think we should tag on that once again.
Yep.
On how to do that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I really want to, and I think that with that being said, it will give the audience a more understanding of how important it is to do social media, not just to be seen, but to just kind of engage on a constant level, so that people do know, oh, okay, I know who I go to when I'm in the state of Texas. You know what? I see Mandy all the time in Texas. I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna do a search on Mandy, because I want people to know that when they do deal with me in business, that okay, well, I'm dealing with Marilyn. Where is Marilyn? Oh, she's in the state of Florida. When people want to work with me, they're gonna be like, oh, Marilyn, she's in Florida. She's on the Space Coast side.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go talk to her. She's all over Florida. She's not just in one place. She's like all over Florida.
Yep.
And when people look to see what Mandy's doing, whether she's running or doing real estate, I want, I have a client that's out in Texas right now that needs a real estate agent and also is great. They just love doing 5K marathons. They like doing those things. They like hiking. I'm going to reach out to Mandy.
Yep.
That's my go-to person.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's what you're that's your goal. That is your longevity goal, is to know that people will think about you when they think about that area.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, I've had clients because of that they've just searched Frisco, Texas. And I have a video that I play every week that I talk about Frisco, Texas. And
yes, you do.
And post about it, right? And that individual thought, okay, after seeing my video, she knows what she's talking about. So I mean, it's just it's about that, right? And we have no idea. The word engagement, we've used it a couple of times. We have no idea what that level is for people. Engagement is just simply, I'm taking it beyond looking at my thread to, I'm going to comment, I'm going to like something, I'm going to save something, I'm going to watch the full something, I'm going to start searching something. Engagement just goes past the minute you stop doing this, there's a sense of engagement, right?
Yes.
So I think that's why it's super important. And to your point, I think as we continue this conversation, we talk not only about hashtags, but let's talk a little bit about each week the science behind we're doing what we're doing for why, because I think that would help individuals twofold: A, grow your business, and then B, to understand the power for the user even. I think there's a lot of us that we post on social media, but we have no idea how our ideal client is thinking or using social media. None. We're just doing what everybody told us to do. And we don't know the why behind it. And I think if we know the why behind it, it'll make it a lot easier for us to be able to utilize this powerful tool, and really leverage our business and our brands.
Agreed. I thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think our audience will get an idea better as we, talk about it more. Because again, I feel like it needs to be talked about more and always as a constant conversation, because you want to continuously be consistent and be out there. If you're trying to brand yourself, people want to know who you are. And it is very important, whether it is on whatever platform you decide to choose to use, just make sure you make yourself known on that platform. And like you said, give yourself some grace. It doesn't have to be exact time all the time, But as long as you're making yourself known out there and just being out there and just showing who you are as a person, yes, it is a very fine line, but it's important for your business if you wanna master it. If you want to be great at what you're doing, let people know who you are. Don't be that special agent undercover. You know what I mean? You just be out there and just do it.
I agree with you there too. Yep, I agree with you there too. Yeah, you've got to get over that comfort, and I think give yourself some grace. Everybody's watching, but not everybody is watching.
Exactly.
Not everybody is watching.
It's exactly that.
and that's where it's twofold, and that's why I say I have no shame in admitting. Sometimes I posted last week the same thing this week because I had a set of engagers last week and a new set of engagers this week. You know what I mean? So
yes.
I appreciate though you talking about the SMART goals because I think that is super important and super powerful for no matter what topic of your business, whether it's media, whether it's just chasing down the goals of production. It is super important. And if we were really truly, like I've said before, opening an ice cream shop, we would be required by our business partners and or our funders to provide such things to know that we were realistic and practical about the business that we were asking them to fund and go into. And so I don't think there's any reason why our industry should not be using that same thing for varying spaces of their business. So what a great time to bring that in, Verilyn. I appreciate you sharing that today. And I hope that people hear that and that helps them to just be more centered and focused on what's really happening.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll talk about this more.
Yep.
Maybe in part 3, we're definitely gonna talk about the strategies again.
Yes, I agree. I think social media can never stop.
So with that, we're gonna end it right here.
Yep.
And let's kind of quickly say again, thank you, Mandy, for this platform. Thank you for creating this, helping to actually just creating this platform altogether, because you've really made it to a point where I get very excited to meet up on these weekends where we have that conversation and that talk, because I need it. I know I do.
Thank you.
And to share it with you is awesome. So again, and Mandy, where can we find you on social media or anywhere if we're looking to do real estate with you or investment properties with you? Like, where do we find you?
Yeah, thank you, Verilyn. And let me say, this would not be a platform without you either. So thank you for your collaboration, and thank you for always motivating me to be here too. I greatly appreciate your partnership. So again, Mandy St. Ange, I can be found here in Collin County, Frisco, Texas. You can find me predominantly on Instagram, Mandy St. Ange. And you can also find me on YouTube, Mandy St. Ange, Facebook, Mandy St. Ange Realtor. I am out there, and a Monarch Movement Real Estate Group brokered by EXP Realty. And as Verilyn said, predominantly work with sellers and investment partners. So anyone looking to sell their home, please let me know. I have end buyers who are always looking to purchase. Verilyn, how about you?
Same here. I am Verilyn Porter out here in Florida at Florida Realty and Commercial. My home brokerage, we are not only just in Space Coast, Brevard County, but you can find me in Orlando, Central Florida area, and I'm making my way over to West Coast eventually of Orlando. So I am slowly going across the board, and we work with, you can find me on Instagram, definitely for the buyers, Verilyn for the buyers. And I am also, we do property management, we do investment properties, we do commercial properties. And we're always looking for business and just helping our business to grow, our brokerage to grow. And you can find me also on Facebook, but predominantly you can find me for sure on Instagram, Verilyn for the buyers.
All right. Excellent. Well, we look forward to our next conversation in just 2 weeks' time, and
Yeah.
we will continue our conversation on social media. Until then, have an awesome week. Have an awesome time collaborating, coordinating, copying, and doing
Conversation.
conversations. Yeah, I was thinking, how can you say conversing?
Corporation.
Conversing. That sounded kind of weird, but anyways, doing what we all love to do, staying real in the real estate industry. So we'll see you next time. Take care.
All right. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.